was a late night and early morning for the Marlins against their intrastate rivals. Over 5 hours, more than 500 pitches, 10 straight scoreless frames until the 16th inning. And then the Rays came out victorious. The Citrus Series finale is next. Back at it bright and early on a 4th of July Wednesday afternoon. It's the Rays and it's the Marlins wrapping up this 3-game Citrus Series here inside Marlins Park. Well, it was a battle of attrition last night. About 5.5 hours, 5:31 to be exact. Paul Severino, Todd Hollandsworth inside the broadcast booth. So 2 games, 2 extra inning games, and an awful lot of coffee in the clubhouses today.
Now, I'll tell you, these guys are going to be digging deep today. Getaway day, 4th of July, into this series, and boy, oh boy, the pitching and defense has been on display all series long. I think it's going to be a big one. It really is. It's for Urania, who's back, and I'm excited because he may be the ace in all of this situation where you've got bullpen guys and tired arms and tired bats. Urania's coming back, and he should be good to go. He's been on the disabled list. I would anticipate somewhere near 100 pitches. I think he is going to be the X factor, if you will, in today's ball game.
Absolutely, and there were some roster moves yesterday. Alcantara placed on the DL to make room for Urania, and today Lewis Brinson placed on the disabled list with some hip inflammation. So we're going to just see what Jose Urania has. Hopefully it's some length today because 16 innings last night, and his start against San Francisco was good. His start prior to that against the Orioles was great. 8 innings of work. We step aside here at Marlins Park. The 4th of July celebrating Independence Day in the United States as the Marlins and the Rays wrap up this 3-game set here at Marlins Park.
Hours after the 9/11 attacks on the World Trade Centers, 3 New York City firefighters raised the U.S. flag over the rubble.
Rays and Marlins as Jose Urena is out of the Marlins bullpen. As we mentioned before, hoping for some length out of him today after a 16-inning affair last night. Two guys that took a quick nap in between the postgame and the pregame show out in center field. Craig Minervini and Jeff Nelson.
Is it our time? Oh, we're on. Hi, thank you, Paul. We are ready to go and ready to get at you on this holiday. What about July 4th? July 4th in baseball. And really goes hand in hand.
It always bring back great memories. Very few times when I played, did we ever get to see the fireworks. This was either a day game or a night game, and they didn't do anything afterwards. But I love this time of year. Obviously, it's about our country and our flag. I'm a big military guy, been overseas, and
yes.
Navy SEALs gone to a lot of bases around the United States to support our troops. But you know, it's always a special day. This is one of my favorite holidays, anyway. I love the 4th.
It's a great holiday. The baseball part fun for us, but as Nelly mentions, none of this would be possible without our troops that protect us. Let's listen in to some of our Marlin fans and troops from around the country.
Hello, my name is Specialist Adams, and I'm with 112th 4th Infantry Division. I'd like to give a big shout out to my mother and my father, Vincent Adams and Yuko Adams, and the Marlins team.
Hey guys, this is PFC Trenton Rodriguez out here in Kandahar, Afghanistan with 4th ID. I just want to give a huge shout out to my family and friends back home in Florida, and go Florida Marlins.
Hello, South Florida. I'm Captain James Carraway, and I'd like to say happy 4th of July to my friends and family back home, and go Marlins.
Hi, my name is Sergeant First Class Reginald Colors. I'm currently stationed in Aldalfa Air Base. I'd like to give a happy 4th of July shout out to all my family friends in Jacksonville, Florida. Go Marlins.
Thank you so much. We'll salute the troops during this game, and also World War II veterans here at the ballpark today enjoying the Citrus Series finale. It's coming up. The Tampa Bay Rays and the Miami Marlins are coming at you next.
Mason, who but WB Mason, the official office supply company of the Miami Marlins. Chevrolet, see your South Florida dealer today and buy South Florida Ford. Thank you so much for spending some of your Independence Day with us. Paul Severino and Todd Hollinsworth with you. Thanks to those that are watching that serve this great country. We appreciate your service as we get set for the last game of this 3-game series. And boy, oh boy, does it feel like we were all just here. It is 1:10. The last pitch of last night's ball game was thrown at 12:41 a.m. Kevin Kiermaier in the leadoff spot today in your Rays lineup, presented to you by Southwest. And Daniel Robertson and Jake Bowers all due up in this first inning against Jose Urena, who is fresh off the disabled list and one of the few fresh bodies in the ballpark today, as the first pitch from Kiermaier is fouled off down the right field line. 0-1.
All right, here's the numbers. 4.40 ERA on the season, making his 17th start. First career start versus the Rays. He's appeared against the Rays, obviously, throughout his career. 6 relief appearances. 1.59 ERA. He's pitched very well in interleague as well. 3.14, 5-2 record. Now looking for his first win at Marlins Park this season. Hard to believe. Had 5 of them last year. You got to go all the way back to September 20th to find his last win. Keep an eye on the lefties as always. 7 home runs. 7 of the 9 have come from the lefties. 279 batting average against righties. 237.
Well, this lefty, Kevin Kiermaier, 1 for 12 in the series. Is hitting 137 in 13 games since coming off the disabled list. So he's yet to get into a groove. A guy who, through the years, has certainly been a kickstarter for this Rays offense, and without question, one of the best defensive center fielders in all of Major League Baseball. And he gets time. He's 1 for 8 in yesterday's game. Last night's game, this morning's game, the last game these two teams played. In fact, his last multi-hit game was before he was on the DL. This one out to shallow center field. And it's Riddle to make the catch. 1 away.
Let's get you the Marlins defensively for this afternoon's ball game. Happy 4th of July. Happy Independence Day to everybody out there, all the Marlins fans. Dietrich gets the start in left. Shuck in center. Anderson in right, as usual. Rivera, Riddle, Castro, and Bohr. Holiday behind the plate. Urena on the mound.
So in steps Daniel Robertson. 3 for 5 yesterday. Couple of doubles, 2 RBIs. 4 for 9 in the series. Takes 97 miles an hour in there for a called strike.
You know, what's so interesting about today's game, Paul, is that in a lot of ways it really is just almost like a doubleheader. I know we kind of kid with the late conclusion to last night's ball game. That looked like a pretty good pitch to me. But nothing happened between the last out of last night and the first pitch of today's ball game. There's been no batting practice. There's been a little stretching on the field, but and packing some bags, but that's about it. Nobody came in, took extra hacks today, tried to do, any extra work, any kind of pregame work. Nothing going on the field. It's almost like we picked up right where we left off.
Oh, absolutely, and that's the thing. It was a 3-game series. You knew you were going to see 27 innings between these two teams. It's the first inning of Game 3 of the series. We've seen 26 already.
Right.
Extra innings on Monday night between these two clubs. A Yadiel Rivera walk-off in a 3-2 Marlins win. And last night, it was the Tampa Bay Rays coming out on top, 9-6, as Robertson is set down on strikes.
Well, there's the dominant 2-seam fastball from Urena. Certainly hope to see more of this afternoon. You see it ties him up. Good running action as it makes its way in off the plate. Now, you really have the sense today, at least I do, that Urena could be the X factor in this ball game. I anticipate a lot of early swings, probably from both sides. So much went into the first 2 games of this series. Both teams are hoping that we get through 9 innings and there's not a tie.
Yeah.
Let's just be honest.
Absolutely. There are some fresh bodies here, though, for both sides. As Bowers fouls that one off, 1-1. Clearly, Urena is off the disabled list. Dylan Peters, the corresponding move. I mentioned Lewis Brinson going on the disabled list either last night or tonight. It's all really bookkeeping at this point. But between the final pitch and the first pitch, Lewis Brinson, a little hip inflammation on the DL. So Dylan Peters is up. And a couple of arms called up for the Tampa Bay Rays today. This is the last couple of days. Urania and Peters with the big club. Alcantara and Brinson are either both on the disabled list. That one inside. Now 2-2 to Bowers. There's Dylan Peters. And for the Rays, Andrew Kitteridge and Ryan Weber called up today. Bowers 2 for 8 last night, a double, 2 RBIs. The go-ahead 2-run double in the 16th last night. And he takes a called strike 3 on the inside corner. 2 strikeouts in the inning, and the return from the DL for Jose Urania. Dots the inside corner. As the Rays go down 1-2-3, couple of strikeouts for Urania in the first, and we'll see if the Marlins can score a run. They haven't done so in a little while, not since the bottom of the 5th inning in last night's ball game. But here is the lineup that will try to crack the scoreboard this afternoon. The Marlins order presented to you by Southwest, with Derek Dietrich at the top. Brian Anderson hits second. Justin Bohr, number 3. All due up this inning against Matt Andriese, whose first pitch is in there for a called strike. We've seen Andriese already in this series, pitched out of the bullpen in the opening game of this series. I have to be careful not to say the opener of this series, because that would totally confuse what's going on with the Rays pitching staff these days, and we've talked ad nauseum about that the last few days. But more of a what you would call a traditional starter. Of course, have to point that out that the Rays have been doing the last 6 or so weeks, which in fairness has led them to the best team ERA in that span since they started using relievers to start games. But today it's Andriese.
Well, it hasn't led to more wins yet. That's the one thing that you got to keep your eye on. See his numbers. His 23rd game for start today. You mentioned his last appearance Monday. 28 pitches, 15 strikes, couple innings, 1 hit, didn't give up any runs.
Off the foot of Dietrich, who looks to be okay.
Yeah, I'm sure at the short bench today, I believe the Marlins, 3 guys on the bench.
That is correct.
It's usually when you say to yourself when you're walking out, yeah, nobody gets hurt today either. Dietrich got me thinking about that as he fouls that off the instep of his right foot. Real Muto, Maven, and Rojas, and I know they would love to stay away from Real Muto today.
Oh, 2 to Dietrich, who was 2 for 3 as a pinch hitter last night. Swing and a miss for the first out this afternoon.
Let's go ahead and give you the AutoNation scouting report. And Reese, 6'2", 225 pounds, 28 years old. There you go, advantage right. And the righty's hitting 281, 4 home runs. Lefty's 176, 1 home run. Arm side run, I think you saw it there against Dietrich. Pretty good explanation of it. Plus he's got a very good changeup. It's his main secondary pitch. And of course, change of pace kind of explains that. Lefty's hitting only 200 versus that pitch. Good arm side run, and again, uses it more than his cutter or slider. Ground game. Now, this is the one thing to keep your eye on. The Marlins do a lot of this and certainly factor into last night's ball game. Andriese, again, gets a lot of ground balls. He's a ground ball pitcher. Of course, he may only go 3 innings today. The Marlins grounded out.
Right there for the second out of the inning.
22 separate times yesterday. They didn't even ground to do a double play. I mean, that's incredible. So the Marlins offense has got to get going early if they're going to put the ball on the ground. Maybe they can put a few guys in motion. Let's take a look at the Rays defensively. Bowers gets the start in left, Kiermaier in center, Gomez in right, Wendell, Adames, Robertson, Crone, Sucre behind the plate, Andriese on the mound.
Kevin Cash having to mix and match at one point last night. You just mentioned Sucre. He pitched in the game, and he pitched with a lead. You usually don't see position players pitching with leads. Usually it's when the game has gotten out of hand 12-1 and you don't want to burn that extra reliever. But what was strange about the whole thing was that the Rays had relievers in the pen and chose not to go with them until they had to, until the Marlins started to mount a little rally.
Well, I think we all agreed, right? We were kind of discussing this morning. It would have been brilliant had it worked. But when it's not, when it doesn't work, it's the opposite.
Right.
Trying to slide a player through, so to speak.
Yeah. Moore takes inside, 3-0. He had 3 hits in last night's ball game, doubling his previous output of hits on this homestand. He has cooled off a little bit. 6 for 34 now. Does have a home run here on what is the 10th game of this homestand. 4-game series against the Diamondbacks. The Mets were in town for 3, and now the Rays. Well, all that talk of how long the Marlins were on the road, tell you what, playing 26 innings in 2 days, that will certainly help extend a homestand, as Moore extends the inning by drawing the 2-out walk.
Well, we've talked an awful lot about style of play really in this series. These two teams so similar, and we've seen it obviously here at Marlins Park in the first half of the season. What? Well-pitched ball games, good defense, and games that end up going extra innings because the offenses just don't get in gear. That's clearly been the issue here through the first 2 games of this series. Good pitching, the ability to kind of get the matchups that you want, great defense. We've talked defensive shifting, and basically what we've done, everybody's done, is stomp on the offense. There's not been any kind of consistency really, other than a few individuals from either side.
I'll tell you what, there were no shortage of hits last night. 20 for the Rays and 15 for the Marlins. It was just a matter of, you look at the score, you say 9-6. Well, there's a ton of offense. Yeah, well, the Rays scored 5 runs in the top of the 16th inning. The Marlins scored 2 of those runs. So you'd have, I think it was 10 innings where there were no runs scored.
Well, they scored 4 runs in the first 2 innings.
Right.
They went 14 innings without scoring.
They bookended last night's game.
Right.
Castro had 2 of the hits last night, 17 for 37 on the homestand. It's a .459 batting average. 2 homers, 4 RBIs. He takes a called strike, 2-1. 2 hits last night, had a 4-hit game on Monday. And all of a sudden, he is on the heels of Scooter Gennett when it comes to hits among NL second basemen. Gennett with 102, making a strong case for an all-star nod in the National League. Castro is 4 hits behind Gennett with 98. hashtag All-Starlet to get him to the All-Star game. Give him another day or so to go.
Don Mattingly very happy with Starlin Castro. He has been an everyday answer. I mean, we talked about this even early on in April. Not a tremendous amount of consistency on a daily basis when it comes to lineup configuration and construction and, you know, the idea of who's playing where every day. One answer that has been there all season long, Starlin Castro.
Yeah, Donnie a little limited today.
Oh, he would have loved to have been able to come in and give, you know, Starlin Castro or an Anderson a blow, a breather today. Day game after what happened last night, what's been going on in this series. Can't do it.
Foul back. Well, that, and you look at the schedule. I mean, it's not even just this Rays series, which has been extremely grueling. But the Marlins have had very limited days off. They're in a stretch of 20 straight games right now.
Well, and you also have that sense, we talk about this an awful lot, you know, you take certain individuals out of the lineup and how does it feel? I mean, they are already a bit limited compared to some other teams around the game. My point being is that you take some of those key cogs out, and all of a sudden you look like, wow, might be scrapping for some runs today. So it goes something like this. You get a couple days off, guys, in about a week and a half.
Right. This is low. Back-to-back walks have 2 on and 2 out.
Well, Paul, I'll tell you what, a lot of times games like these, team that score firsts can win. I've seen it too many times in my lifetime to know what getaway day and getaway day after a long one or a long series where everybody's at right now, what an early lead could do. JT Riddle comes in with a big base hit right here. Maybe open this up a little bit.
Moore at second, Castro at first. Both walked with 2 outs by Matt Andriese. Riddle 1 for 7 in last night's ball game. It takes low, but 10 for 33 on the homestand. So the bat for Riddle starting to get into a rhythm, get into a groove. I mean, he was hitting at a very high clip in New Orleans. It's all the way up to 346 before being called up. So that's kind of where he's feeling the last week to 10 days.
A lot of his outs have come off the barrel.
Breakthrough against Andriese here in the first inning. We got the first 2 on a strikeout and a ground out, but then back-to-back base on balls.
Andriese kind of throwing the combination at him. That's the 1-2 punch that he likes to go with, especially against the lefties. That 2-seam arm side run, that fastball, you saw it, he fouled it off 2 pitches ago. And then the changeup off the outside corner, the little arm side fade, drop to it.
Here's the 1-2 pitch to Riddle. And on the hands, fouled off on the check swing. And one of the reasons why the Rays have been going with this reliever to start thing is not to do anything else, but just to kind of fill spots, fill innings, and get outs. They're doing it out of necessity with some guys who are injured.
I think they're doing it to tick you off.
Well, it's working from a prep standpoint. You come to the ballpark, who's starting today? I have no idea.
That's what I was getting at. They're doing it to mess with you. I told you how the AutoNation scouting report's gone. Honestly, it's gone better than it could have gone.
Right. It's usually 3 points. Now it's 3 question marks.
Right. We're breaking down somebody who's got a, you know, at this stage of the season, a pretty good track record. And mean, I suppose I could have done Sergio Romo 3 times in a row.
Could have. It would have been very entertaining and creative if you made it different 3 times.
I would have tried.
Yeah. Riddle, soft liner to left field, and they will hold up Bohr at third. The bases are going to be loaded. Another hit on the homestand for Riddle.
JT continues to use it. Very nice all-field approach. The running action on that pitch. Nice job staying on it. It climbs up above the belt. Hopper into left.
Pitching coach out to the mound to talk with Matt Andriese. Just to tie a bow on that, one of the guys that the Rays are hoping to get back soon is, of course, the ace of this staff, Chris Archer. Certainly make a case that Blake Snell has been the ace of this staff this year, but in years past, Chris Archer has been the ace of the Rays. 4 no-hit innings in a rehab start against Charlotte last night, and sounds like some of the reports are that he could be back as soon as Monday. So that may take one of the relievers out of the mix. Holly mentioned before, Andriese, traditionally a starter in his career. They try to match up out of the gates to avoid teams scoring runs in the first inning, something that the Marlins have an opportunity to do right here with the bases loaded and 2 out. And J.B. Shuck, who gets the start in center field today. Big spot finds him very early. Shuck walked and scored a run in last night's ball game. 2 hits on the homestand. They're looking for one big one here in the first. Chops this one to second base. They'll go to first and get Shuck to retire the side, and Andriese works into and out of trouble in the first inning. We're scoreless. Miami Marlins and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Miami Marlins. C.J. Cron to lead things off. Cron, Wendell, and Gomez here in the second against Jose Urena, who had a couple of strikeouts in the first. Outside corner for strike 1. Home plate umpire today is Chris Siegel. Gabe Morales at first, Ed Hickox at second, and the crew chief Jerry Meals, who has got to be a little winded after last night's game. He was behind the plate. 506 total pitches in last night's ball game. That is a lot of that's a lot. 5.5 hours, 5 hours and 31 minutes of baseball last night. 17 pitchers. The Rays used 9, the Marlins 8. The Rays hitters struck out 16 times, the Marlins 11. And again, as we mentioned before, that on the heels of an extra inning game the night prior. So as Holly pointed out last night, the Marlins now have played the most extra innings of any team in Major League Baseball this year. Crone with a line drive down the left field line. And Dietrich's going to dig this one out, but it'll be a leadoff double for C.J. Crone.
Tell you what, left field line is becoming a hot spot for this Rays team. A number of right-handed hitters have gone down there. A lot of damage, picked up a lot of their runs. Here you go, first hit of the game. Rockets one into the corner. It
was Crone that tied it in the 9th inning with his 12th double of the season on Monday night.
Down that same line.
And now Urania, who surrendered his first hit of the afternoon, will face Joey Wendell. Mr. Wendell 1 for 5 last night. Also walked in the series, hitting .316 his last 6 games. That on the heels of an 0 for 17 drought. You know, you look at a lot of the different trends with this Rays team. It's like guys are either red hot or ice cold. And the opposite has been the case right before a guy took off or cooled down. I mean, it's really one way or the other. Very streaky club, this Tampa Bay Rays offense. Left field line, but into the seats, and it's 2-1.
Yeah, I know, kind of a bit surprised at the Rays' offensive approach. We watched it over the first couple of games. Now, of course, we don't see them all season long, but for as systematic as they are on the pitching and defensive side of things, their offensive approach is much looser. Watch the deliberate actions of guys trying to get guys over, bunting. I don't think we've seen anybody square around other than the pitchers a couple of times. We mentioned this early on. They had a couple opportunities in game 1, a game in which the Marlins were able to take the lead. You know, guys moving guys along, just putting guys in position with the idea that that was the go-ahead run at the time in the game, and not really making any effort to get that guy over, whether it was a lefty or a righty.
And outside to Wendell. 2 on and nobody out. Well, perhaps it's a little bit more anecdotal, but you know, sometimes you see extra inning games and you know, feel like they end in the 10th because either somebody hits a home run or you know, scrap together a run or whatever the case is, or they just go all night long because you get those 3-4 innings, you know, once and a half through the order, and everybody wants to end it with one swing, and nobody's doing that situational hitting.
Well, and I guess what I'm getting at, we hear Don Mattingly talk about this a lot, the Rays are limited offensively. I mean, we're halfway through the season now.
There's a bunt attempt by Gomez.
And I think you understand my point. When we're talking about the 2 teams in baseball that are 29th and 30th in extra base hits, don't hit for a whole lot of power, don't have tremendous, the ability other than a few individuals who are responsible for that power, if you know what I mean. It's not like what power they do have is balanced throughout the lineup. It's generally a couple of guys that we end up talking about. Point being, you can be more creative offensively in how you put guys in motion. Now, the Rays do that a little bit more. But when it comes to handling the bat, it's still more along the lines of, you know, see what you see and swing at what you want to swing at.
Well, Gomez is saying that that hit him, but Chris Siegel, the home plate umpire, says that was a foul ball. To the naked eye, looked to me like he offered. Let's take a closer look in slow-mo. I mean, it hit his hand, yes, but he also offered at the pitch.
Yeah, that's going to be part of this debate, because the hand has not been pulled back. You're absolutely right. I mean, that bat is still out there. It definitely hit him flush. It wasn't a ricochet. It wasn't, you know, off the hand, off the bat, off the bat, off the hand. He definitely attempted to bunt it. And they are going to say that is exactly what's going on here.
Well, essentially,
he called it a swing. See, he said I mean, that's basically what he's admitting.
Right.
He tried to bunt the ball. So you see Gomez. That's why he's fired up right now.
And that would be no different than if you took a regular swing and got hit on the hand.
It's a strike.
Same thing.
Yep, it's a strike, and that's what's being debated.
That debate now over, and Gomez will continue this at bat with some sore knuckles, down 0-2. Cut on and missed, strike three. Third strikeout this afternoon for Urania. A big first out here in the second.
Yeah, well done. For a couple of pitches in, the slider away. It's a big pitch for him. Able to get Gomez fishing.
And that, you think, was Gomez absolutely losing it in the dugout. And there's more. And now he's got sore knuckles on the other hand. Chop to Rivera. One. Double play. Now Urania walks Wendell to put two on, and nobody out. Strikes out an angry Gomez, and then gets the 5-4-3 double play. Ended the inning, but it was what happened prior to or even during the double play that certainly caught our attention. The actions of Carlos Gomez, which we'll show you right now. This was after the strikeout. Some 4th of July fireworks in the Rays dugout. Wait, there's more. Remember those sore knuckles from when he thought he got hit by a pitch? This one lined out to Kiermaier in center field, and Rivera is retired. Those sore knuckles, I guess they're okay, because he goes ahead and there you go.
Well, I can happily report that the Gatorade cooler is still around. It is it's not your father's Gatorade cooler, that's for sure. These things are built to last. What did the Gatorade cooler do wrong?
I think the Gatorade cooler is playing by the rules.
Wrong place, wrong time.
Right. And now someone's got to clean up the mess.
Yeah, that does happen. Certainly understand the frustration there. Felt like there was a call, didn't go his way. It's been a bit of a frustrating season for him as well.
Now Brian Holiday, who did not start last night's game, but did catch in the game. And there was some talk afterward from Don Mattingly that Drew Brzezinski was not available last night. He was the last one out there in the Marlins bullpen. And if Cameron Maben or anyone after him would have come back to tie the game and there would have been a 17th inning last night, Holiday would have pitched. Here he strikes out for the second out in the inning.
Come out to Marlins Park to celebrate the 25th anniversary of the legendary movie The Sandlot on Sunday, July 15th, and receive a Ham Porter bobblehead powered by South Florida Ford. Purchase a VIP ticket package and you receive a limited Squints bobblehead. Purchase your tickets today at marlins.com/sandlot.
Here's Jose Urena taking a look at strike one. One hit and 25 trips this year for Jose, who squares to bunt and offers now 0-2. Now if Urena can do what Vidal Nuno did last night, and that's not the injury, but come up with hits, well, boy, that would be impressive. Last night, Nuno had 2 hits in the game, one down the left field line, one down the right field line. It was down the right field line that he kind of came up a little lame with a hamstring injury and left the game subsequently on the DL. But the last AL reliever with 2 hits and a win, the Angels' Eddie Fisher, May 10th of 1972, before the designated hitter was put into place. But no hit for a pitcher here, as we are through 2 in Miami. Scoreless game between the Rays and the Marlins. Well, another tight ball game. Granted, it's only 2 innings, but hopefully somebody can crack the scoreboard today. Both teams out of town after this. Jesus Sucre to lead things off for the Rays. They will head to take on the New York Mets, and the Marlins off to Washington, D.C. Nationals playing right now, in fact, and thankfully the Marlins did not have the 11 a.m. start time that the Nationals and Red Sox did today.
I'll tell you what, though, I'll say this: if you're running into the Nats at just the right time, this Nats team has really been scuffling here of late. They're back down to 500. It's surprising. I think it's kind of one of the attention getters in the first half of the baseball season. You know, on the whole.
Yep. And they are being held scoreless right now in the bottom of the 8th inning against the Red Sox, 2-0 in D.C. Here in Miami, Jesus Sucre to lead things off. And then Matt Andriese is due up, but Johnny Field is already in the on-deck circle. And then the top of the order, Kevin Kiermaier. So it looks like all they're going to get out of Andriese is the 2 innings of work. Now, far be it for me to tell Kevin Cash how to manage his club. I'm just playing devil's advocate here. After a game last night, are you surprised that he is only going to allow Andriese the 1 time through the order for a guy who has started games in his career?
Well, you know, listen, if there was vulnerability in the bullpen, I think we would be seeing that, you know, maybe a little bit more of it. Of course, he's not out of the game yet, so let's just see where it goes. But I'm with you. Maybe I'm a little bit surprised, but I think generally speaking, you know, Cash has got his guys ready, you know, to understand what their role is and what's going to be expected. And for a lot of guys today, I mean, it's not necessarily about the fact that they pitched yesterday. I mean, day games happen after night games anyway. I know it was a long game, but you know, 85–90% of your roster always has to dig deep on a day like today, whether we're talking relievers, players, guys who play every day, guys who don't. I mean, every manager will tell you the same thing. Face it through the left side. They'd love to give all their guys a day off right now. Not just JT Realmuto, your starting catcher. Of course, both starting catchers not in the lineup today. But you get my point, is that, you know, this is a game that is probably lacking adrenaline. Certainly not pumped up on it.
So it will be Johnny Field. So Lewis Brinson on the left. He's been placed on the disabled list. There is some news. It's not really news yet. It's more kind of like a rumory type thing. Martin Prado spotted in the clubhouse today and is here. He will be with the team on its flight to Miami. And it also sounds as though Garrett Cooper will join the team. There's Martin right there. Not activated yet, but will fly with the Marlins to D.C., where, as I just mentioned, Garrett Cooper will join the club as well. Moves to follow. Out into the seats, 0-2.
Second career pinch hit appearance for Field. Appeared earlier in the series. Struck out against Adam Conley on Monday. Pinch hitting.
There's Ryan Weber up for the Rays, with Andriese's day done after 2 innings of work. Weber, one of the guys called up today, along with Andrew Kitteridge. Just a little high, and it's a ball and 2 strikes. The corresponding moves on that side, the Rays side of things. Fidel Nuno, right hamstring strain, 10-day DL. And Austin Pruitt optioned to AAA Durham. Didn't chase that one. 2-2. The last time we saw Urania was in San Francisco before going on the disabled list. A leadoff walk led to a 4-hit, 5-run inning. Had to work around some leadoff base runners. Did so in the 2nd inning. C.J. Cron double, then a Wendell walk before Gomez struck out, and Adames grounded into a double play.
Definitely seems like a little bit of a tighter strike zone today. There's a little leeway on both corners yesterday. Not seeing nearly the same borderline pitches called strikes.
And another 3-2 pitch on the way, and that one is laced foul. Urania had 45 pitches, 25 of them strikes. Another 3-2 to the pinch hitter Johnny Field, who grounds one. Riddle gets it to Castro, and that'll be a fielder's choice. Time now for the Toyota inside look. So the intrastate rivalries, the Yankees 20 games better than the New York Mets. Cardinals over the Royals, the Angels and the Dodgers, and then the Rays leading the Marlins 56-53. Marlins trying to cut into that, and then they'll see each other again in the 3 games right after the All-Star break.
Yeah, all you gotta do is win both series, tie this thing up all time.
Now, is there a trophy?
Used to be.
Is there not one anymore?
I don't know.
Are they revamping a trophy?
That's a good question, buddy. I don't know the answer. There used to be. I haven't seen one.
In all honesty, there was an article the other day. I clicked on it, and the headline was something. It was from a Tampa Bay newspaper. Something about, oh, there's a new trophy going to be, between these 2 teams in the Citrus Series. Read about a paragraph in, and then all of a sudden, the author started knocking the Marlins, and I said, I'm out. I'm out on this article. So I didn't read it all the way to the end to know if there would be some sort of a citrus fruit basket presentation. We have some of our best men on the job.
Crack staff.
Yeah. Craig Minervini is the one. Best guy we could find on short notice. Kidding. Craig's on it.
This has been a highly contested series over the years.
Sure. The Citrus Series, I would like the Alligator Alley series or something like that. And a little pizzazz to it.
It's a little violent, isn't it?
Well, yeah, but it's pizzazz. It's not violent. Another ground ball leads to another fielder's choice, and Kiermaier will reach with 2 outs. To one of the best men we could find on short notice, Craig Minervini. How you doing, pal?
Hey, good. I talked to the media relations people, both teams. Now, if this means anything, they have not heard about this new trophy that you've been digging up, Paul. But they used to have a trophy, and it was if you will, a very junior Stanley Cup with a cup and oranges in the top.
Ah, see?
And it was, I think each team, whoever won the series, would have the trophy. When you came in, you would see it, in the windows of the respective stadium. But I don't believe that's around any longer, and I don't know where it is. But no one has heard about a new trophy. It's a good idea.
No, I mean, I'm just. Oh, here you go, right here. This was the article.
Okay.
Rays, Marlins, and an idea for a Citrus Series trophy. So I clicked on that, and then about 19 words into it, the author, who does fine work, but in this particular article was bashing the Marlins, and then I figured, well, I'm out. I don't want anything to do with it.
An idea might have been the giveaway there. And why not throw in grapefruits, limes, lemons?
Right, all sorts.
The whole family.
Right. And maybe an alligator.
That's a Citrus Series.
Oh, right.
Craig, you're down there on the first level. If you go back, I think you'll check a closet. Maybe you can find the trophy. It's probably in there somewhere, right?
You have all the keys to the building, don't you, Craig?
Yes, that's only after we work, though. Then I close up shop.
Well, you did last night. You opened it up today. Holiday's throw to second is in time to get Kiermaier. Another caught stealing for Brian Holiday. The Rays may take a peek at it as the Marlins are slow to leave the field. Everyone kind of holding, and Kevin Cash says, yep, he got him. So, yes, it is, in fact, another caught stealing as Holiday back on track to get Kiermaier. Yeah, very cool, as Governor Rick Scott chiming in from a military base and greeting the fans here at Marlins Park, celebrating Independence Day as we play on to the bottom of the 3rd inning. A new pitcher for the Rays. Make my life easier and really just kind of have our fine audio team kind of clip that off. They can say it every couple of innings, so I don't have to. Save some words in what's been a lengthy 2-game series. Ryan Weber in. Big league career spanning 15 through 18. Has started 9 games as he gets Dietrich to fly out to right field. And Gomez is there for the first out of the 3rd. And Weber called up with Ketteridge today. Get some help after a lengthy night last night with his Rays bullpen.
Ryan Weber does not throw hard. Sinker, curveball. 91 miles an hour on that sinker. Curve sits in at about 76, 77 miles an hour.
In fact, born in St. Petersburg and now playing for a team that plays there. So Doug Wechter, 03 to 06, and Casey Kochman in 2011. Along with Weber, now the only players born in St. Petersburg to play for the Rays, and there are 2 outs.
Now 3 consecutive sinkers. This one a little farther away. And Anderson, I think it would chase back to the outside corner. Plate umpire felt it did.
Justin Bohr drew a walk in his first plate appearance, takes outside. .13 homers and 37 RBIs. How do the Rays play him? Well, this is the distribution of balls in play on the infield for Justin Bohr. Willie Adames, the shortstop, creeping ever so closer to that 27-39% threshold.
When you see the numbers there, I always enjoy looking at this, and we talk about where defense is set up and how they play the percentages, but again, pivotal for your pitcher to execute his arsenal. Almost spot on. I mean, here's the thing. Justin Bohr decides to take one of these sinkers and stay inside it and go the other way. His odds go through the roof, don't they? You've got one guy defending the entire left side of the infield. See, what they were betting on is that if Bohr was going to swing the bat to the outside part of the plate with the sink in the run, that arm side run that you saw, that he would roll over the top and pull it to the right side.
If Bohr swung the bat, though, that's the thing, and that's been kind of the challenge for him this year. The lineup certainly looks different now than it did a year ago, so he's the power threat on most days and in most situations. So to not kind of go outside his zone, I mean, we're just past the halfway point of the year in terms of games played, and he's already, relatively speaking, blown past his walk total. He's got 2 today. 1-0 to Starlin Castro, who also drew a free pass in that first inning against Matt Andriese. 1-1.
And also part of the Rays theory, using as many pitches as they do, and you see this, it happens a lot. We call them bullpen games. Hitters don't get eyes on a guy multiple times.
Past the dive of Adames and into left field. A base hit for Castro.
Well, this sinker stayed up. Thigh high. Nice job by Starlin, who's been finding an awful lot of holes lately. Starlin's 18th hit on the homestand.
Now 2 on, 2 out for JT Riddle. Same situation that Riddle had in the first inning. He got a base hit. Marlins couldn't crack the scoreboard then. We'll see if they could do so now here in the bottom of the third. Chopper up the middle, having to come get it and make the play to retire Riddle. Now we go to the top of the fourth. Scoreless. And the Rays. Time for the Florida Lottery in-game jackpot. The most starting pitchers used. The Tampa Bay Rays with 13, the Marlins with 11. However, the roads to those numbers for really 2 different reasons. As the Marlins, whether it be for youth or injury or I guess whatever the case has been, they're still trying to get whoever starts the game to get through 5-6 innings. Meanwhile, the Rays on the other side of things are just trying to get maybe the first 2 innings out of their starting pitcher. Just a bit of an unconventional way or a non-traditional way of going about their business. But as we've mentioned throughout this series, since they started it back when the Rays played the Angels, I believe the date was May 19th. Sergio Romo started a couple of games against the Angels. The Rays have the best team ERA in baseball. So you say, wow, it's working out. Then you look at the win-loss record, they're like right at 500. So I guess 500 compared to what it could be in that division with a lot of injured arms, it could be worse. Robertson, Bowers, and Crone due up here in the 4th inning. No swing, says the first base umpire Gabe Morales, and it's 2-2. 13 starters used by the Rays of the 26 pitchers that they've used all year. Marlins also 26, but the Angels leading the way with 28 different pitchers used. As they say, you don't win championships with the 25 guys that break camp for opening day. It is a it's a 40-man roster that usually gets you through a big league season.
It certainly is.
Swung on and missed. Strike 3, 1 away.
Right back to the two-seam fastball. Good look. That just bores in. Robertson can't handle it. Apologize for the language.
Fouled off by Bowers. That's 4 strikeouts tonight or this afternoon rather, for Urania. He got Robertson twice and he got Bowers back in the first.
Yes, 2 and 3 hitter, so good spot. And those strikeouts.
Take a fly ball 2 out to center field. This is Shuck. 2 away.
Are you ready for storm season? We are. See how you can prepare at fpl.com/storm.
Two down in the fourth for C.J. Crone, who had a double in the second, but was left there. The next batter, Wendell, walked, but then Gomez struck out, and Urania got a double play to get out of trouble in the second. Got around a leadoff single in third as well. A couple of ground outs and a caught stealing to end the inning. Crone takes low.
Well, no ill effects, at least from that trip to the DL for Urania. He's looked right, able to get himself right back in rhythm.
On a hop to Riddle at short. And a 1-2-3 fourth inning for Urania. Scoreless at Marlins Park. Come out and join us for our community grand opening event on July 21st from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. For more information, visit clevelandclinic.org/Coral Springs. By USAA Insurance, Banking, and Investments, tailored for the military community. And by La Lechonera, the original mojo since 1970. J.B. Shuck to lead things off as he takes a called strike from Weber in his second inning of work. It's Shuck, Rivera, and Holiday due up here in the 4th inning. A scoreless ball game, last of a 3-game set between the Rays and the Marlins. Shuck tops one over to first base, and Crone will take it for the first out. Bring up Yadiel Rivera, who over the course of the last few weeks has been getting a little bit more playing time. If you recall, Miguel Rojas hit by a pitch in Baltimore. That's still kind of bothering him a little bit. So Rivera's been getting some increased playing time, although that a 1-pitch at bat on the soft liner to second base. Robertson puts it away for the second out. With 2 outs, that'll bring up Brian Holiday. Start behind the plate this afternoon. Yes, a day game after a night game, but boy, oh boy, what a night of work it was for JT Realmuto yesterday. Caught the first, 14 innings or so, and then moved over to first base. Holiday, the last man off the bench for the Marlins. Takes inside. Holiday has already made his presence felt today with a caught stealing Kevin Kiermaier a couple of innings ago. This one out to right field sends Gomez back a few steps, and a 1-2-3 inning on just 5 pitches. We're through 4. As we take you back to 1999, this day in Major League history, presented to you by Geico. Rays DH Jose Canseco, first player to hit 30 home runs with 4 different teams. Did so with the 86 A's, the 94 Rangers, the 98 Blue Jays, and then a year later with the Tampa Bay Rays. Finished his career with 462 home runs and played in 172 games with the Rays in '99 and 2000. Jose Urena, after a 1-2-3 inning in the 4th, will face Joey Wendell, Carlos Gomez, and Willie Adames here in the 5th. And that one is inside. A ball and no strikes to Wendell, who walked in his first plate appearance. The only walk to go along with 4 strikeouts today for Urena. And that one lined to base it into right field. Well, another leadoff man on for the Rays today. That'll bring up Carlos Gomez, who is none the worse for the wear after a little bit of an outburst. So this is where it all started. offered it the bunt. It hit his knuckles. He was upset that it wasn't a hit by pitch.
Well, it certainly was a hit by pitch. It's just that, you know, he butted at it and he kind of tried to get out of the way of it. So there's a little interpretation there. I can kind of see where, you know, where his point of view was. Now, I'm not talking about the explosion in the dugout, but just merely the ball that hit him in the hand.
Just below us, 0-1. Now, were you a snapper kind of guy? Like, did you ever snap the way he just did? Not even in the clubhouse? Hide it from the cameras?
No. Couldn't do it.
Did you play with guys that were?
Oh, my goodness. My generation. I always get nervous when I start kind of wandering down that path. But, I mean, of course, I'm not in clubhouses today, but my generation was known for it. I mean, there was like at least 2 on every team. I mean, I could tell you stories of all sorts of things.
Gomez out to center field. Shuck racing in, and it'll be Anderson cutting in front of Shuck to make the play for the first out.
We got a little communication going on here. Well, Shuck called it. I don't know when he called it exactly, if that was the first call, and whether Anderson picked it up. At the end of the day, any manager will tell you, catch the baseball, and it certainly was caught. That's what you want to see happen. Another rule for outfielders, biggest guy usually wins.
Willie Adames takes a strike. Now, we talked about the way that Anderson's been playing right field and adjusting to right field. And for those that may just pop in here or there or may not realize it, he was the opening day third baseman, and he has been a third baseman as a professional, but the last, whatever it's been, 50 some odd games, he has been the Marlins right fielder. He's done a superb job. But you mentioned it, having talked with him a week or so ago, and an excellent piece that you guys had together. We ran on our pregame shows. He's putting in the work, yes, but some of those, how did you put it, some of those advanced things, he's not really gotten to those yet?
It's a little bit harder for him to work on. I mean, he's a tremendous athlete, and he's certainly got you know, the ability to figure out the position. He watches and he learns as much as anything, and I think that's where you give him so much credit for why he looks so good, is that he watches other outfielders. He certainly watches himself. He knows how he feels the position, and he's grown to be a really good right fielder. You use words and phrases like seamlessly transitioned from third base to right field. He really has done that. 57th game in right field today. He's more of a right fielder than he is really of a third baseman. But you're right. I mean, there's some of the advanced things that you know, he comes with experience. You hate to say it that way, but it's really true. Like in that situation right there, even going back to that last fly ball that he ended up catching. Now, Shuck doesn't play every day, so you know, his partner, which is the guy to his right, the center fielder, you know, you still kind of work on a field, but the longer you play next to a guy, the more you get a feel. Both are closing on that ball. He probably thinks that typically in that situation, as he gets a little bit older, his center fielder will take over naturally. He'll assume that. You know, like that ball right there under those circumstances probably didn't have to go that way.
Runner goes, throw to second is not in time. I'm not sure if Holiday didn't catch a piece of the bat on his follow-through on the throw to try to get Wendell.
Yeah, I really do believe that happened, whether it was after the ball was out of his hand. You see the home plate umpire throw his hands up. He's waving, no contact. Let's take another look. Yeah, he hit him in the back. Sure did. I'm sure the argument is that the ball was out.
And Sucre is going to get the intentional walk. So Adames down on the strikeout for the second out of the inning. Throw down to second, clearly not in time, so with the stolen base for Wendell, and then the intentional walk, and now Ryan Weber with 2 on and 2 out. Chops one foul, 0-1.
Well, here you go, Paul. I mean, in this day and age, we talk about where do you make up the innings. Marlins clearly gained an advantage here. No bullpen activity for the Rays in the National League ballpark. And you talk about where are those innings going to be made up. Clearly Weber's in this game to go longer than he's gone already, if you see my point. It was in game 1 that we saw a pinch hit, what, 3 innings in.
It was last night. I think Crone hit in the second inning.
Yeah, but I was talking about game 1.
Oh,
game 1 last night.
Oh, the first game of last night. Right. Yeah.
The one that started around 7 o'clock.
Frankly, I feel like we're in the middle of a triple header between these three teams.
Hasn't been a whole lot in between, right?
No. Weber swings and misses. And it's a strikeout number 6 for Ureña midway through.
None of it would happen without the work of gentlemen like the two that joined me here. Joseph Claudio, U.S. Navy, World War II, an engineer here with the U.S. Army. Freddie Lundy. Freddie, I know you love baseball, but your service, we thank you for it. And tell me about the connection for you to this great game of baseball.
I'm just looking for the Marlins to win this game. Been big time, that's all. That's why I'm here.
It was a late night last night.
Right.
People thank you all the time for your service.
You're welcome, man. You're very welcome. It wasn't easy over there, but I'm glad you all recognize that.
Well, it's important to recognize that. And certainly, Joseph, for you, World War II veteran, the greatest generation. And can you talk a little bit about the camaraderie that you have with other World War II vets and all veterans?
Well, it's always a pleasure to meet up with different people that were in different services. So there's a good feeling between each other.
And a chemistry, yeah.
Because we went through some of it went through a lot, and some didn't, but we still brothers and sisters.
They're going to be going to the nation's capital as part of the honor flights in September, a group of 30 flying there, and you're going to be going back to the memorials from the respective wars. Can you tell me about how you're looking forward to that in September?
Well, I'm looking forward to it because there's a lot of history behind it. Interesting also. So it would be a very interesting deal.
You're looking forward to that trip too, I know.
Yes, because of what happened, I didn't never dream that I'd be able to go to Washington, and I'm going to see some scenery that I never dreamed I would see, so I'm going to be happy to go there.
Great stuff. I know you're a big baseball fan. We got 2 outs. You were a New York Giants fan?
Yes, I am. New York Giants.
What was the first year you rooted for baseball?
Pardon?
First year in baseball you rooted for it in your 30s? The 1930s?
Oh, 1930, oh yeah.
Thanks a lot, gentlemen. Nice talking to both of you. Have a great trip, and thanks again for your service. All right, back to you guys.
All right, thank you so much. Yeah, the Marlins hosting about 35 World War II, Vietnam, Korean War veterans today at Marlins Park. Brad Ziegler, other Marlins taking a little bit of time before the game, despite the fact that it was a late night last night, still making the time to spend a little bit of time with the veterans. And of course, from us up here in the booth, we certainly thank everyone who has served in the military for their service. And it's going to be special. The next trip for us is to Washington, D.C., and certainly make some time to go to Arlington National Cemetery. Went for the first time last year, and my oh my, I mean, it's certainly a sobering walk through there to know all those that paid the ultimate sacrifice for this great nation. A couple of outs here in the bottom of the 5th as Drew Brzezinski is up. He was unavailable last night, but figures to be the first man called out of the bullpen as Miguel Rojas pinch hit for Jose Urena before Dietrich grounded out and Anderson did the same to follow. So we are through 5 in a scoreless game on 4th of July. Sub-2 ERA came over from the Mariners in the trade for D. Gordon last year. 11 walks, 53 strikeouts for the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp. Boy, oh boy. It's a nice little run.
Maynard's getting it done. How about it? That strikeout to walk ratio, that's pretty impressive stuff.
Yeah. They played in front of their largest crowd in 10 years last night. Sellout in Jacksonville. Drew Brzezinski is in. Jose Urena done after 5 innings of scoreless baseball, 3 hits, a couple of walks, and 6 strikeouts. So see what the amount of length, I guess you could say, for Brzezinski is this afternoon in a low-scoring affair. In fact, a no-scoring affair going to the 6th inning. It's Kiermaier, Robertson, and Bowers for the Rays. Kiermaier squares to bunt and takes a called strike.
Yeah, it's been back-to-back series. The Marlins have been able to frustrate the leadoff hitter on the opposing team between Kiermaier and Nimmo for the Mets. Remember, Nimmo came in. We were boasting all sort of numbers on him. OPS and slugging percentage out of the top spot. They shut him down. 1 for 13. Now, Kiermaier 1 for 14 combined last 2 series. Leadoff hitter 2 for 27.
Rivera plays in on the grass against Kiermaier, who swings and misses through that one. The ball and 2 strikes. Again, just has not found the groove. Kevin Kiermaier, guy who the Tampa Bay Rays signed to a 6-year, $53.5 million deal. He swings and misses. He retired to begin the 6th.
I like to see that split change an awful lot. There it is. Show you the grip. And look at the tumbling action. That's one of the good ones right there. There's hardly any way to defend that as a hitter. Just hoping to foul it off.
Nobody on, 1 out for Daniel Robertson. A couple of strikeouts this afternoon. Takes one on the black, going 1. Just looking around the rest of the National League East today, not a lot of runs being scored as the Washington Nationals were shut out by the Boston Red Sox today. That one already in the books. 3-0. Red Sox won that game. Again, that game started at 11 o'clock in Washington, so early 4th of July game there. And then the Atlanta Braves currently down 5-0 to the Yankees at Yankee Stadium. Orioles play the Phillies in about an hour and a half. And the Mets and the Blue Jays tonight at 7 in Toronto. So 78 pitches today for Urania in his first start off the disabled list. He had missed time with a shoulder impingement, little more than the requisite 10 days, but generally speaking, seemed pretty good today.
He certainly did. He looked good. A couple strikeouts first inning, kind of settled in from there. You know, when you watch Urania, generally speaking, you talk a lot about ground balls, and he got some key outs, I think, back to that second inning. But the first 2 guys on needed a double play grounder, picked up a strikeout and a double play grounder off the bat of Adames. So, yes, I'm with you. There's some borderline pitches, and we talk about that perfect lanes that sometimes he works in when he's got that 2-seamer working where it's just inside where it needs to be, and it kind of, as it runs, it gets just to where it's a pitcher's pitch. He missed a few times with that today, which kind of drove his pitch count up at times. But all in all, an outstanding day. Jump into a summer of savings with Marlin's Flex 4-pack. You can customize a plan to save on individual game pricing and lock in priority access to giveaways starting at just $20. Take your pick of games and access giveaways, including our first ever celebrity bobbleheads featuring Pitbull and DJ Khaled. Visit marlins.com/flex4 today.
2 outs for Jake Bowers. Grounds one right back to Ruzinski. The flip to Bohr. 2 strikeouts. Part of a 1-2-3 inning out of the pen. Scoreless.
with hashtag Hats Off for Heroes. For each post, T-Mobile will donate $1 to support veterans.
Yeah, 35 veterans in-house today. Paul Severino, Todd Hollinsworth, Craig Minervini. Marlins doing an excellent job with those veterans here on this Independence Day, 4th of July. Glad you're spending some of it with us. As Justin Bour takes a little low, 2-0. He hasn't had much need to swing the bat today. He has walked twice. Once by Andriese and once by Weber, who is in his 3rd inning of work. There's a swing. Comes up empty, 2-1. It's Bour, Castro, and Riddle due up for the Marlins, looking to crack the scoreboard for the first time since, what, the 5th inning last night. 16-inning affair. This one is grounded into the shift, shallow right field. Robertson makes the play. It's actually the 4th inning of work for Weber, but he has been so efficient that his innings have gone by extremely quickly. He's retired
8 in a row.
8 in a row, you're right. And he's only thrown 33 pitches. Here's Castro. Walked in the 1st, singled in the 3rd. Takes strike 1. Rays have 3 men on the left side of the infield against Castro, who was down on the count 0-2. Well, we talked about this before, and the way that the Rays have been using their pitching staff the last 6 weeks or so. It's not traditional, however, different players have different ways of preparing, but you go into the video room or you look at the scouting reports, you figure, okay, I'm going to get 2, probably 3 at bats maybe off of this guy. That is not the case at all. No. So how does a player prepare in a bullpen game?
You just got to game plan as best you can. Go off history. Again, remember, Andriese started today. The Marlins saw him in game 1, passed the information up and down the line. It's really what it comes down to is how you can do it. But listen, there is definitely an advantage to be gained when you change these arms around. We've talked about this. It's an interesting conversation because it existed for a very long time. Paul, when I played way back in the day, we talked about these bullpen games all the time. You'd see them in spring training. And we would tell each other, we would talk to each other like, boy, why nobody's really doing this? Because this is always such a complicated game for us. We hitters in our minds think, all right, who's starting today? I've got 3 at-bats. If I see this, this, and this in the first at-bat, that means that this is what I might see in the second at-bat, and by the 3rd at-bat, boy, oh boy, I've got him. You take that all out of the equation. Now you're to the point where if you can pull it off, and again, it's been thrown out there in theory, but nobody knows how to necessarily, a team has not figured out how to execute the idea or the concept without creating an awful lot of vulnerability for the entire pitching staff based on a game that gets away from you, much like we've seen in this series, like last night.
A line drive base hit for Castro. His 2nd hit of the day, another multi-hit effort for the Marlins second baseman. That is 27 multi-hit games.
How about this? 100th hit of the season. No surprise, he is really dialed in. Get down out of the zone on a curveball, able to line it into center field.
He is now 2 hits shy of Scooter Gennett for the most hits among NL second basemen. Gennett and the Reds play the White Sox later tonight. It's been a very successful homestand for Castro. 19 hits in 39 at-bats.
Just to finish up that thought, I always found that in games like this, of course, I haven't played as many as you see probably more of this in today's game than you did throughout my generation. More, guys would make spot starts in this situation. No, we don't have a starter. Somebody would make a spot start, go 4 or 5 innings, and then you get into the bullpen thing because you just never wanted to create bullpen vulnerability. Absolutely vital for hitters to watch.
Riddle with a drive to right center field, and Kiermaier's going to play this one off the wall. Castro being waved waved around from third. It's rattling around in center field. Castro scores easily, and Riddle goes to third base. It's 1-0 Marlins here in the 6th.
Now, from one hot hitter to another, JT Riddle has had himself one heck of a homestand. Swinging the bat so well, middle away. Gets a fastball up, a sinker. Didn't sink, stayed up above the belt, drove it off the center field wall. Watch, Kiermaier had to give up on it. He wasn't able to get to the spot in time. Hustling all the way. They get a 1-1 right here, meaning drives in a run, gets himself over to third base for a chance. For contact, if you get contact to the left side, you should pick up another run.
So 3 on the right side of the infield against Shuck as the Rays play the infield in. And Shuck takes low and away.
I mean, is this not amazing, right? I mean, we talk about this all the time. I'm sure you've heard the phrase, right? You play the infield in, you make a 300 hitter a 400 hitter because you've got so much more vulnerability defensively. But how about this, taking it to another level? Putting 3 guys on the right side. Look at the hole to the left.
And again, they attack that outside corner. He doesn't bite. It's 2-0. So Riddle gets a triple, his 2nd of the year, and drives in the game's first run. Now you see why they do what they do. Wendell over there probably to keep Riddle relatively close to the bag. Otherwise, he'd get about 60 feet down the line. Here comes a 2-1 and grounds right to second, but on the move was Riddle, and he's in there safely.
Oh, yeah.
Aggressive base running for Riddle, who got around the tag by Sucre, and the run comes in to score.
Let me tell you something. You've heard me over the last couple of weeks ranting and raving about base running. Marlins trying to create opportunities and take advantage. I'll tell you who's at the top of my list. JT Riddle. He's at the top of my list right now. He has taken his base running game to a new level here of late. How about that? Only way he's safe is if he gets a great break from third base, and he did. He was off with the crack of the bat, anticipating the ball on the ground, and look how much he was safe by. Watch the break. Watch the contact. Boom. Gone. On his way home. Even as that play developed, even as the Rays defended it, and the ball was hit right at a middle infielder, he still beat it.
Excellent job and a great slide by Riddle to give the Marlins a 2-0 lead. So an RBI for Shuck. And it's now 2-0. Looking for more with Yadiel Rivera. And Shuck on the move. It's a pitch out. Throw down is in time. Well, the Rays guessed right and got Shuck for out number 2.
It sure did. See Sucre pop out of there. Everything went seamlessly. Executed to a T.
0-1, yes, yeah.
I wonder if that was a hit and run too, because it looked like Shuck took a few steps and looked in, and Rivera had to swing at the pitch, and now fouls that one off his foot, I believe, but he's up.
Not a whole lot you can do on a pitch out. And if you sniff it out, and it looks to me like they did, bottom line is they pitched out, so you're dead duck. Can't do much with that. Back in the day, we were taught to throw your bat at the ball. Do something, but not sure how effective that ever was.
Rivera throws his bat at that one, but it's going to be Crone to win the foot race to the bag. And we are through 6, but the Marlins get on the board. Riddle's triple, and he scored. 2-0. First, Pogba leads France against Uruguay, then Neymar and Brazil battle Belgium. The World Cup quarterfinals starting at 9 a.m. Eastern on FS1 or stream it live on the Fox Sports app. Got ourselves a soccer score right here, 2-0 as we go to the 7th inning. Both runs scoring for the Marlins in that bottom of the 6th. An RBI triple from JT Riddle, who came in on the RBI ground out. JB Shuck. And Drew Ruzinski and the Marlins have a 2-0 lead to work with. Trying to get the last 9 outs and take 2 of 3 in this Citrus series. CJ Cron, Joey Wendell, and Carlos Gomez due up here in the 7th. Outside for ball 1 to Cron, who had a double in the 2nd and grounded out to short in the 4th. 4 for 7 in the series. Came in one of the cooler bats for the Rays. Still 16 home runs and 39 RBIs. This is one of those games where you need the truth serum for the managers to figure out who's truly available. But one of those games where you kind of look and see, all right, he pitched the last couple of days, may have heated up 2 or 3 times in the last couple of days, and may not be available. But it's Ruzinski right now here in the 7th. And the 2-1. They've broken his bat on the roller to Rivera, who gets rid of it to retire Cron.
The Marlins and Metro PCS will be hosting watch parties for the World Cup. That is for afternoon games throughout the month. The 5th base presented by Corona Light. First 50 guests to visit the Metro PCS store at Marlins Park before kickoff will receive VIP access. Visit marlins.com/watch parties for a list of dates.
Well, it's Juan Nieves and it's Dean Traynor and it's Don Mattingly, all kind of in that loop of what I was talking about. And that's the thing. I mean, sometimes, you know, the fans, and I'm guilty of it too, you look at the box score, you say, well, the guy he pitched yesterday, he threw 9 pitches yesterday, let's just say. But we don't always know the story of how many times he warmed up to get to those 9 pitches, or if he warmed up the day before and didn't pitch. But it's those detailed notes that the pitching staff and the coaching staff makes. And that's kind of how the teams know who's available on a given day. A walk in the 2nd, a single in the 5th. Stolen base today for Wendell, who will see a 1-1 and line it through the right side for a base hit. His 2nd hit, and the Rays will bring the tying run to the plate with 1 out in the 7th.
Second hit for Wendell. First hit put up by Ruzinski. But he's been good, I'll tell you. He's done a very nice job over his last 3 starts, or excuse me, last 3 appearances. I'll tell you, the relievers coming out of the bullpen.
That throws everything off. Absolutely.
He has given up no runs. There you go. That's what I'm trying to get to. While striking out 5. No walks. Only the 2nd hit. See him preset splitty that he likes to throw. Has to kind of get it in there. And now if he changes, he'll put the ball in his glove and reset it. I saw it right there as he made his way to the glove.
Strike to Gomez, who is drawing cheers from the crowd. I have noticed this. I've been in the ballpark for a number of Gomez's games. He certainly draws some reactions from the crowd. I would tell you that much. He is a polarizing figure, plays with a ton of emotion. Sometimes that emotion gets him into a little bit of trouble. I was at a game last year, or year before, whatever it was. Some pretty good seats. I knew a guy. him sit in second row, and Gomez is out playing center field. And every time he goes out and comes back, he's jawing with the crowd. But then he flips the ball at the end of the night, you know. Good guy, but plays with his emotions on his sleeve. Takes a ball, and some of those emotions on display. This is the second half of his outburst. What you see on the left side of your screen is all the cups on the ground and the cooler. Well, that was his bat that did that damage. And you could hear it reverberating through the crowd after he thought he was hit by a pitch. Ended up, there you go, right there, yep, with the, yep. Huh?
That Gatorade cooler didn't make it.
Wow. I would hate to see what happens if he gets rung up on strikes on a pitch he doesn't like. Because you figure that later in the game, it's got to be another level that he's going to go to emotionally. Three and two with Wendell off of first. Wendell goes out to center field. Shuck racing in. Wendell slid. It's going to be Anderson sliding. Comes up throwing, and they'll double him up.
What a sales pitch at second base. Wow.
Anderson slides, gets up quick, throws a strike to first. And that is going to do it for the top of the seventh inning. Drew Rosinski happy with that. A double play to end the inning. On this Independence Day, USAA honors those who have served and all of our service members at home and abroad.
We ask that you please rise and remove your caps for the singing of God Bless America, performed by Cuban-American recording artist Alexis Salgado.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above, from the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans, white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet
Well, it's been out there for a little while, and great job by Starlin Castro. Well, I'll tell you, Wendell bit. Well, he bit long enough. He was running with the pitch. Nice job by Brian Anderson, and channeled his inner third baseman. How about it, right? He didn't come up and make a long arm. He came up and threw kind of, well, flat-footed, because that's what infielders can do. A little short arm, quick toss to first. Get that huge double play, protect the 2-0 lead. Well done.
And now Holiday, a line drive out to right field. And one pitch, one out. Well, it's 4 1/3 for Weber, as Cameron Maben is going to come in and pinch hit for Rosinski here with one out in the 7th.
For Maben, 5 for 22 pinch hitting this season. His career is 11 for 50. He does have 8 walks.
So Weber 4 1/3. This is his 50th pitch. And it's a base hit into left field for Cam.
Hi, hello, how you doing? Welcome to the ball game. One pitch, there you go. He's sitting around waiting for an at-bat all day. Gets the first one he likes and rips it into left. I'll tell you what, that's how I was raised to pinch hit. I loved it. That first pitch fastball, the first good one you get, take a good, healthy swing at it. Saw it right there from Cameron Maben. No waiting around.
Now here's Derek Dietrich taking a look at strike one. Dietrich today, a strikeout, a fly out, a ground out. They'll face the righty Weber with 3 men on the right side of the infield. This one in the air toward left, and Bowers for the second out.
Ready for storm season? We are. See how you can prepare at fpl.com/storm.
Two away for Anderson.
That double play that ended the 7th. Top of the 7th inning. It was his 5th outfield assist in 57 starts. It's pretty impressive.
Offers at the first one down the right field line, but into the seats. 0-1. I mentioned earlier that Martin Prado is with the team and will be with the club as it goes to Washington, D.C. at the conclusion of this one. Also learned that Garrett Cooper is expected to meet the team in Washington, D.C. unless he just is going there on vacation, and that's why he tweeted it out. But so it sounds like Cooper will join the club in D.C. and Prado will as well. And it was Prado's initial return that moved Anderson to right field. Boy, oh boy, has he found a home out there. Cam goes, gets a great jump, but he'll be able to waltz in as Anderson is hit by the pitch. 2 on, 2 out.
Well, this sinker has a little too much run up above the belt. I'll tell you right now, Weber's probably happy that got in off the plate. You see sinkers up there, out over the plate, they get turned around.
So here's Bohr. 0 for 1, but he's walked a couple of times. Knuckle curve is in there for a called strike. You know, when you watch Weber pitch, to me, he almost looks a little bit like a Tim Wakefield type. Like he's just kind of gently tossing it up there. Well, you know what I mean? It's not like a max effort kind of delivery.
Survives on late movement. It's a pretty good example of it at 89 miles an hour at the top of the zone, but you see the tailing action again. Arm side run, The sinker really doesn't traditionally sink, but it does work itself away from the left-handed hitter. That's why righties have better numbers against him.
Outside to Bohr, 2-1.
See, ideally for a lefty, what you're looking for is the sinker when he starts on the inner third, because that tailing action will actually take it out over the middle of the plate. So you're almost doing your best to really focus in on the inner third of the plate, see if he doesn't start something there.
Ground ball into the shift. And Bohr is retired. Marlins strand a couple, but we head to the 8th inning with Miami up 2-0. Got Go-Go Gomez going today. Thought he was hit by the pitch. Later in the at-bat was struck out. And then, speaking of finish, well, that Gatorade cooler was finished after that. And that one. Not a happy day for Gomez, who was backing up Kevin Kiermaier, who couldn't track up with that RBI triple off the bat of JT Riddle, who then came in to score on this terrific slide on the ground ball by Shuck. In there safely. Second run of the day for the Marlins, who have a 2-0 lead as we move to the top of the 8th inning. So 5 innings to start from Ureña, 3 hits and no runs. He walked 2 and struck out 6. 2 innings of work from Ruzinski. Gave up a hit, struck out 2, and now Eliezer Hernandez in his 14th game this year. And he will face Mallex Smith to lead things off. Cameron Maben stays in the game out in left field.
Well, his 13th appearance was a few hours ago. In fact, went 2 innings. Kind of like yesterday, but not entirely.
Yeah.
I picked up a strikeout as well. Looked good. Attacked the strike zone. Certainly looking for the same results this afternoon. Smith 0 for 4 pinch hitting this season. 8 for 23 in his career. A pretty decent job of this.
Well, we wondered last night. Mallex Smith got the start, and Smith came out of the game rather early. We weren't quite sure as to why, but we found out later in the game that it was, or later in the night, that it wasn't an injury or a double switch or anything like that. I guess there was a missed sign. Kevin Cash took Smith out of the game. Draws the walk, and now Sucre will bat with 1 on and nobody out here in the 8th inning. In there for a called strike. Smith over at first. He will run. 16 stolen bases in 2016. 16 stolen bases last year and 15 already this year. And Hernandez delivers the pitch to Sucre, who flies one out to center field. And Shuck is there for out number 1. Now watch every out-of-market regular season game live or on demand, at home, in the office, or on the go with MLB.tv. Your subscription includes MLB At Bat Premium, allowing you to watch live baseball on your favorite supported devices. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv for details. We see the Florida chain there for Malik Smith from Tallahassee, Florida.
That is his bling.
That's right.
Well, I too am a big fan of the state of Florida.
Absolutely. What's not to like? No income tax, weather.
Representing.
Is that it?
That's what he's doing.
Yeah. Originally a 5th round pick of the Padres in 2012.
Tell you what, he decides to steal a base, you better be careful that doesn't come up and knock him in the mouth.
Oof, you're right. Similar jewelry to what Jessica Blaylock had on last night. She had some accessories.
Very similar to a Mr. T starter set.
A little bit, yeah. Well, I pity the fact that Matt Duffy's 2 for 11 in the series.
Well played. Thanks. First pinch hit appearance of 2018 for Matt Duffy. I mentioned he's been very good this season. 9 for 24 in his career, 375. Couple of hits last night.
We see how Hernandez is trying to control the running game of Malik Smith, just kind of waiting him out. One of the ways to kind of throw off the timing of a base runner, and in a tight ball game, you figure Smith, as I mentioned before, what, 46 or 7 stolen bases the last 3 years. We'll think about it. Stays put on the 0-1. They throw to first, and he is back in time. Smith has bounced around. Mentioned the 5th round pick of the Padres in 2012. Traded to the Braves in a deal that sent Justin Upton to San Diego. Traded from the Braves to the Mariners in January of 17. Involved in the trade that sent Drew Smyly to Seattle. Upstairs to Duffy, 2-1. Duffy, a guy who finished 2nd, albeit a distant 2nd, in the NL Rookie of the Year in 2015 to Chris Bryant. Chops this one to Rivera at 3rd, to Castro, and over to Bohr. The 8th time this series the Tampa Bay Rays have grounded into a double play. Nicely done by the Marlins defense. Bullpen. Hunter Wood in for the Rays. The new Monopoly jackpot scratch-offs from the Florida Lottery are a new spin on a classic. They are loaded with prizes from $10,000 to $2 million. So unleash the excitement anytime. The Florida Lottery, it's your ticket. Must be 18 or older to play. Play responsibly. Second time in the series that we have seen this young man who will try to get the Marlins here in the 8th inning, but it is Miami with a 2-0 edge. Well, here we are in what is a 3-game series, and all of these games have been hotly contested, tight ball games between these two Florida rivals. Inside to Castro.
Wood technically pitched yesterday, 3 innings. Goes in quite impressive. You see his numbers, 1.69 ERA. Those 3 innings got 9 outs on the ground.
There are some defensive changes for the Rays. Wendell is in at second now. Duffy at third. Robertson at short. And Sucre held on to the foul tip. 1 out here in the 8th inning. South Florida Honda Dealers present Marlins Live, the pregame show tomorrow at 6:30. We get you set for a 4-game series between the Marlins and the Nationals. Craig Minervini and Jeff Nelson from the studio as DC prepares for All-Stars. The All-Star game, of course, coming up in the nation's capital in a couple of weeks. Some guys that certainly making a case on the Marlins roster to get there. The Midsummer Classic. JT Riddle's RBI triple in the 6th inning. Started the scoring this afternoon. He came in to score the 2nd run. Fouls that one back to the netting, 1-1.
JT's had an all-around outstanding game today. He's impacted this game on offense, on defense, and with his base running.
That was a great slide. Do guys still practice sliding?
You usually do in spring training. You won't see too much slide practice going on during the season.
But they do it in spring, though, right?
Absolutely, right. You get the bags out in the outfield. Everybody will start working on their slides. A lot of it's athleticism, though. It's not it's not any one way to do it. Certainly, you don't. I mean, you can teach a standard way, but the variations that you see now, especially at home plate, like that great slide, that little sliding outside of home plate, the ability to reach back. It's all predetermined.
Riddle with a drive to right field. Gomez at the wall. Gone! A home run for JT Riddle. His 3rd hit of the day.
Have a day, JT Riddle. My goodness. Responsible for all 3 runs. Let's take another look. There you go. That's the side view. Nice balance, good extension, and good finish. Got it off the bat. So how about the afternoon? You hear me talk about this a lot, Paul. I think you'll be proud of JT. He's had a fantastic day. He started the day with a base hit to left, right? High elevated pitch off the plate.
Right.
Having an RBI triple off the center field wall. Got himself over to third base, scored on a great slide. And then a home run to right. Is that locked in? Locked in enough?
I think that's spraying it around. Absolutely.
Yeah, well done.
And a double shy of the cycle.
Yeah, I'll tell you, last year he had a number of these moments where he kind of started getting rolling. Things would start to really kind of come together for him offensively. I hope he rides it out. There were shorter bursts last year. He can ride this out, I'll tell you what, he can take his offensive game to hopefully a new level. Numbers starting to climb, batting average up over 250.
Well, here's the again, here's the tricky thing. As I mentioned a couple of times already today, Martin Prado is here. Will be traveling with the team to Washington, D.C. Figures to be activated as early as tomorrow. Garrett Cooper is going to join the club in Washington, D.C., so he figures to be activated rather soon. So there will be some roster decisions that have to be made. So for Riddle, nice time to have a good day, I guess. If you're looking at it from that perspective, as this team has said, we want to create the competition.
Now, he's playing himself in more playing time, not less. I'll tell you what, he's not going anywhere. That's my opinion. He has been impressive over the homestand. 3 more hits today. 13 for 36 on the homestand. A couple of home runs. 6 RBIs. For this Marlins club that is going to score more runs just about every day. Tell you what, get a hot bat, you're not taking it out of the lineup.
Second strikeout of the inning for Wood, and there are 2 away. Now Yadiel Rivera. Cuts and misses, 0-1. Looks like Brad Ziegler up in the Marlins bullpen. Kyle Bearclaw worked the last 2 games. Down low, 2-1 to Yadiel. Rays will have the top of the order. Kiermaier, Robertson, Bowers due up in the 9th. Three and 2. Yachty told me that he's been doing all that he can to just kind of get assimilated to his or acclimated to this role of his, and it's helped with the hits that he's gotten to start some rallies. Been tracking some pitches, anything that he can do to kind of get in a better offensive rhythm. But he grounds out there to end it. Speaking of offensive rhythms, what a day for JT Riddle as he adds to a great afternoon with a solo home run to make it 3-0 as we go to the 9th.
Outstanding since taken out of that closer role since June the 1st. His numbers are unbelievable. 14 out of 15 scoreless, only 1 run, only 7 hits. That's a 0.56 in the last 15. Now he's back here with the situation with the Marlins in the closer role. And he told me the other day, hey, I can still close. He said, but man, it's been fun to watch Claw, and the matchups have helped me. Let's see how he does here in the ball game today, guys.
Yeah, Craig, thanks so much. And that's the thing. I mean, unfortunately, I guess you could say for Ziegler, he taken out of the closer's role. But boy, oh boy, has he, as Craig just mentioned, he has been better. This entire bullpen has been an awful lot better. And on the first pitch, Kiermaier grounds to first, 1 away. Things kind of slotting into place even better. They were already pretty good, as Ziegler in the save situations was what, 9 of 10, I believe, right? It was the non-save situations that were kind of getting a little tricky. But whatever has happened, whatever changes have been made, it has certainly worked. This bullpen's been great the last 6 weeks or so.
Well, you asked about it a little bit earlier, kind of how Weber was getting by without any velocity. Ziegler does very much the same thing. Tons of movement at home plate in the hitting zone. Hitters react to what they see, and what they see is something they think they're going to hit a long way. Realize that less velocity creates more drop as the ball enters the hitting zone, and what do all these hitters tend to do? Beat it right to the ground.
Right. Strike 2 to Daniel Robertson, who has struck out 3 times this afternoon. Twice by Jose Urena, and once by Drew Rosinski in the 6th. And Urena started the game the first 5 innings, 3 hits, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts. His first start off the disabled list. Rosinski worked the 6th and the 7th, gave up a hit. Hernandez worked the 8th. Ziegler in the 9th. And he walks Robertson with 1 away.
You know, with Ziegler, we talk so much about how well he's done in his new role. I'll tell you, rediscovering his sinker and his slider, to me, has been what this is all about. He's pitched in just as much leverage. I know he hasn't been closing. How about this? In May, just over 10 innings, gave up 17 hits. Tweaked his mechanics just a little bit. 15 2/3 innings in June, 8 hits, 12 strikeouts. 1.15 ERA so far in July. Nothing, crickets.
Well, he likes to get ground balls, and the Rays have hit into 8 double plays in this series. One tap foul, 1-1. Here it comes from Ziegler. Strike. 1-2. Too low that time. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Robertson the runner at first. Bowers at the plate. A power threat, C.J. Cron on deck.
That's a pretty good look right here, what Ziegler tries to do. Get that second strike. He's got Bowers thinking about it. Trying to go back out there. Looks like he's going to do it again.
Dribbler. Ziegler to Bohr. They get the second out of the inning. Coming up, the WB Mason Marlins Live postgame show. Craig Minervini and Jeff Nelson. I see Jeff. Where's Craig? Where's Craig? No, Craig is gearing up, hopefully getting ready for a postgame interview.
Craig's looking for the cup.
He is.
That's what he's looking for. He's looking for the citrus cup. Craig, find the citrus cup.
Where is it?
He doesn't know.
Craig?
Look,
You've
I
had
don't know.
2.5 hours to find it, Craigers.
Where's the citrus cup? Who's got it?
He's yelling at somebody
Come on.
now. You guys find it. I don't. Maybe Kyle Seeloff has it. There's C.J. Cron, last hope for the Rays. Swings and misses, 0-1. These teams will meet again right after the All-Star break. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at the Trop. And the Rays down to their last strike. The 0-2 from Ziegler. Just got a piece to stay alive. Ziegler gets the sign from Holiday. Another 0-2 pitch. Ten-inning win for the Marlins on Monday night. A 16-inning win for the Rays last night.
Tell you what, a 9-inning win will feel pretty good.
Yeah, I would say so.
You want to do more? Keep adding to that lead, extra inning lead.
I would love it.
You're such a liar.
I would love it. You know, if the next time we had an inning, it was the first inning in DC tomorrow night. I would love that. I think that would be great.
Brad Ziegler would love it too.
Absolutely. Head the count 1-2 to Cron. Doesn't chase. 2-2. Trying to expand the strike zone on the outside corner.
Well, he's got him thinking about it. See how he's kind of working him. Big sweeping breaking ball off that outside corner. Backing up the sinker inside 85, 86 miles an hour.
Swung on and missed, strike three. It's a Marlins win, 3-0. The final score, a big day for JT Riddle as the Marlins take 2 of 3 from the Rays. Back to wrap it up after the break.